You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account, from NVIDIA to VIX, and everything in between. If it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody, that music means we are back to kick off another trading week here on the Hot Options Report for Monday, October 7th. Hope you're having a good start to your trading week. If you're long a lot of equity, then you had a pretty good day out there. Most of the major indices rallying hard yet again. And Vol getting taken to the woodshed once again, which is where we begin our journey this week in VIX land. VIX coming in at the end of the day, 1582, giving off about half a point. And of course, over the past week, it's come in nearly 10 handles out there. So it's been quite the drubbing on the vol front. Was it an active day on the VIX options front? The answer was it was decent. 776,000 contracts. That would have been good about a week or two ago. Now the ADV is back up to 863. So that's a little bit light. The hot option out there in VIX land today. 81,000 of the DEES 25 calls. Average price for these, about $1.28. Another one that kind of caught our attention. So we put it out to you folks via our Twitter at Options. You should be following us there for all sorts of great stuff throughout the week. But we said, do you like these? Are you a buyer or sold to you? And right now, 54.5% want to buy those calls. 45.5% want to sell them out there. So there you go, listeners. Our audience close to split. At Options, the place to go to make your voice heard. All right, let's keep on rolling. Out to SPY, listeners. Was it a hot day in SPY? The answer, yes, a banger, up nearly 1.2%, closing 685.24, putting up 8.77 million contracts against an ADV of 9.63. The day started out hot, kind of came in light towards the second half of the session, hence not even hitting that ADV out there. The hot option in SPY land today, 675,000 of the 683 puts. Average price for these, nearly 50 cents. Looks like paper sold a fair number of those. So if you sold them and rode them through the close, you're probably looking okay, listeners, as we keep on rolling out to the SPX. You know the deal. The S also popping today, closing 68.75, 16, up nearly 1.25% out there today. 4.2 million contracts changing hands against an ADV of 4.4. And the hot option out there, 156,000 of these 68.65 calls. Average price for these, a little bit shy of $3, $2.96. So interesting stuff out there, listeners. Looks like if you rode these through the close, you probably did all right. As we keep on rolling out to small caps, 250.3 is where the small caps closed, up about 1/3%. So kind of a light day for the small caps, at least movement-wise. Volume-wise, pretty decent, about 1.5, almost 1.55 million contracts against an ADV of about 1.6. So pretty much in line with expectations. And the hot option out there, 131,000. Of the 251 calls, average price for these, nearly 21 cents. So once again, if you rode these through the close, maybe not your best trading day. As we keep on rolling to the Qs. The Qs popping over nearly 1.8%. So just a hot day out there across the board. The hot option on a hot day in the Qs, By the way, the Q's closing 628.09 out there today, listeners. And the hot option on a very hot day in the Q's, 4.95 million contracts changing hands in the Q's versus an ADV of about 4.8. So a hot day, hot option on a hot day, listeners, 276,000 of these 626 puts. Average price for these is about 51 cents. If you bought these, rode them through the close, it may have been difficult, but obviously you had opportunities to get out of them a little bit earlier in the session. If you were a little bit diligent, if you sold them, looks like they went up split 50-50. So if you sold some of those, obviously a little bit better day out there. As we keep on rolling out to the single name equities, was it a hot day in the single name equity option land? The answer was yes, 641,000 contracts. That is more than respectable. That gets us to our new pal, Qualcomm. I haven't talked about them in a while, but Qualcomm popping hard today. They are the latest to whisper the magical letters of AI. And I've always said that's good for a 20% pop in the stock. That's pretty much what they got. They rallied all the way up to nearly 206 intraday before closing 187.68. Still up about 19 handles or 11%. So a good day for Qualcomm. Again, putting up 641,000 contracts. The hot option on a very hot day, 51,000 of the par calls, the 200 calls. Hot strike in Qualcomm expiring this week, listeners. Again, we got there earlier today. So if you bought these this morning, average price for these $4.54. So you bought these earlier in the session. If you were feeling the optimism, you may be wearing it right now. Then again, you got the rest of the week. These not looking great, but we shall see. Just wild stuff out here in good old Qualcomm. Coming in at number 9 out here, listeners, it's the fruit company. It's Apple. 721,000 contracts on the tape. Closing today, 268.81. Up over 6 handles or 2 1/3%. So a hot day out there. And the hot option on a hot day, 30,000 of the 267.5 calls. Average price for these, $5.84. We got as high as 269.12. So they were not giving these calls away, but they were looking about $1.50 in the money earlier today. So keep an eye on these, listeners. Can we maintain these levels in Apple throughout the rest of the week? That is the question as we keep on rolling to number 8. It's Palantir, 189.16. Putting up 723,000 contracts. And again, rallying 463 or about 2.5% out there today, closing 189.16, listeners. The hot option, you know they're going for it. It's the pars, the 200s. 88,000 of these going up for $1.44 out there, listeners. Can we get to the 200 strike? Can we even threaten it? The highest we got today was a little bit shy of 193, so fully 7 handles away from that. That seems like quite a climb by the end of the week, but we'll keep an eye on Palantir as we keep on rolling to number 7. It's Beyond Meat. Moving in the other direction, listeners. Giving up about nearly 40 cents or about 17%, closing 181 out there today, putting up 822,000 contracts. The hot option out there in Beyond Meat today, 66,000 of the 2.5 calls. Average price for these, 22 cents, so 2.5s. Got as high as 2.25 earlier today. As we keep on rolling to number 6, it's AMD, popping 7 handles exactly, or about 2.75%. Closing today, 259.75, putting up 948,000 contracts. So a hot day in AMD, the hot option out there, nearly 57,000 of the 260s. Average price for these, also about 574. So they're not giving these away either. The high today, 260.42. So these were looking decent, listeners. We'll keep an eye on them throughout the rest of the week. Can we maintain these levels? Going to have to if you want to pay off that nearly $6 valuation. As we keep on rolling to number 5, it's SoFi. They've been tilting at this 30 strike forever. They closed exactly there today. SoFi, 30.0, 953,000 contracts. SoFi rallying again over $1, about $1.10 today, or nearly 4%. Again, putting up 953,000 contracts out there. So a hot day, a spicy day in SoFi. What was the hot option? You could probably guess. It was the 30s. 56,000 of those going up today. Average price for these, $1.73. So they're pricing in a lot more juice in SoFi. The high today was 30.20. So they were in the money, but only slightly. That's a heck of a lot of juice for SoFi. Does it merit it? We'll keep an eye on it as we keep on rolling. So number 4, Intel, 39.54 is where it went out, up about $1.25, about 3.25%. People have had their eye fixed on that 40 strike for a while. Got above it today, 40 2/3, before retreating back below it at the close. 983,000 contracts changing hands. In Intel today, the hot option, 116,000. Forget the 40s, that's passé. It's the 45s this time, and expiring in November, so longer term compared to what we're normally seeing on the hot options report. Average price for these about $1, so obviously you can do the math, listeners. Have to get to 46 or at least sniff it before November expiration. We'll keep an eye on Intel, see how all that plays out as we keep on rolling to number 3. Yes, number 3, it's Tesla. 452.42 is where this one went out after hitting 460 briefly. Intraday, listeners, nearly 2.5 million contracts changing hands out there. The hot option in Tesla today, listeners, 101,000 of our old friends, the 460s. Average price for these, $8.24. So once again, they're not giving these away, listeners. If you bought these, you need Tesla to keep rallying throughout the end of the week as we keep on going to number 2, a newcomer, kicking Tesla to the curb this week. This is Strive Inc., ticker symbol AST, ASST. Trading today $1.64, up about $0.50 or about 45%. Wild name, traded as high as 175, as low as 135, so 40-cent range. This is another Bitcoin treasury name. If you're not familiar with it, not sure if we need any more of these, but we're getting more. It's the hot thing, listeners. Putting up nearly 2.7 million contracts today. That is astronomical. We were talking about the Jan 15s earlier today on the network, trading for prices near 20 cents, which, again, the stock about $1.60. You're trading the 15s in January. Absolutely wild. But the hot option out there today, 212,000 of a more, dare I say it, relevant strike. The 1/2 calls. Average price for these, about 30 cents. So if you're feeling the momentum, I suppose it's a more relevant strike than the Jan 15s. Wild stuff here, listeners. As we keep on rolling to number 1, even with all this wild stuff going off today, nothing can kick the king to the curb. It's NVIDIA once again coming in the top dog in the single name equity options market today, putting up 3.1 million contracts. NVIDIA closing 191.49, up another 5.25, or nearly 3%. Just absolutely wild day out there. The hot option out there, 234,000. Of the par calls, the 200 calls, average price for these, about $1.25. So 200, can we get there? Can we even threaten it by the end of the week? The high today, 192 even. So the answer was not today, but can we get there by the end of the week? It's like there's a lot of flow lining up on that strike, listeners. And that's going to do it for your hot options report for Monday, October 27th. See you back here with our usual array of content tomorrow until we're back again after the closing bell. Another episode of the Hot Options Report. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.